Hello, good morning. Good morning, and welcome to the 8th International Plant Breeding Seminar Series. We are honoring women in plant breeding during this series of 6 seminars. And you guys have registered, know the program, but here it is just in case. We're starting today with Dr. Ana Maria Heilman Morales with a very interesting seminar about the good, the bad, and the ugly, modernizing public breeding programs with novel analytical technologies. Ana is a plant breeder with extensive experience in academics and seed industry, particularly in data management research. In her current role, she leads scientists, data scientists, and software engineers in the development and implementation of innovative data management analytic strategies, especially applies to plant breeding programs. Anna has a PhD from North Dakota State University, a master's from the University of Puerto Rico in Mayagüez, and a bachelor degree in biology from the Universidad del Valle in Colombia. Her goal is to support the development of automated data tools and analytical solutions to modernize programs. And Anna, it's a pleasure to have you with us. I'm going to stop the sharing here, and I'm going to give you the floor for your presentation. Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And we see your presentation.
Wonderful. Well, it is a pleasure to be with everybody here today. Good morning, everyone, everywhere you are. Good evening, good afternoon. Thank you to Carlos Iglesias and his team at the North Carolina State University Plant Breeding Consortium for the opportunity to speak with you today. As Carlos said, I am Ana Heilman Morales. I am the director of the Agricultural Data Analytics team at NDSU. And today I would like to share with you some insights into the work my team does, as well as kind of like an experience that shaped me currently, both from the industry and academia, and that helped me to understand many different things about the practices that are both done in the academia and the industry. And especially, I would like to mention some of the practices and challenges that the public breeding programs face. We will explore a little bit about how can we adopt a more holistic view on the data-driven approaches and how to modernize the programs, with new analytical technologies and methods. So in this presentation, I will introduce you to our NDSU Ag Data Analytics products, as well as to mention the role that is very important for the breeding programs in ensuring that global food security. I will discuss the emerging challenges that those programs face, and the opportunities that we have for improving them, emphasizing on the need for modernization. That is where we will, look at the good, the bad, and the ugly aspects of the current practices in those breeding programs and how can they be fixed and change the practices that we are using, especially adopting new analytical technologies. And finally, we will wrap up with some takeaways before we open in the floor for questions. So as I mentioned to you, we are a data analytics team that is affiliated to the Agricultural Experiment Station Director's Office at NDSU. And our mission is to develop data repositories, automated tools, and advanced advanced technologies that can help us to accelerate the selection and management decisions through that data pipeline. So we have a very diverse team of individuals that include biologists, statisticians, mathematicians, plant breeders, computer scientists, agricultural engineers, and quantitative geneticists, and we are growing. So regarding the role of the public breeding programs is to make sure that we ensure that global food security, right? And then I want to highlight three main points. The first one is to differentiate between the public versus the private breeding efforts. In the case of our public breeding programs, we serve a critical function in focusing on those crops for particular regions that are sometimes overlooked by the private industry. And those efforts go to those smallholders or farmers in developing countries as well as in developed countries. So these programs target, or let's say, orphan crops like cassava, millet, sorghum, to mention some few of them. And they are very important for the food security in those countries or those regions. And they have some of the limited commercial interest in some cases. In the case of NDSU, our programs emphasize on developing balanced crop varieties that are both profitable for our regional interests and producers, and that are valued by end users worldwide. The other point that I want to make is about the equity and accessibility. The public breeding programs ensure that improved crop varieties not only are accessible to our stakeholders locally, but other stakeholders at the global level. And this helps into bridging the gap between that cutting edge technology and on the ground realities that those farmers are, facing, which directly impacts our food security. And the last one, but not the least, and is very important, is the training of the next generation of plant breeders. So our universities and public institutions play a very important role in training those future leaders in plant breeding, which they will drive the advances in the global food security. So I just want to make sure that we, provide those strong public-private partnerships in order to modernize our curricula, the methods and technologies that we are using to make sure that we prepare those next generation breeders for the world. And I cannot emphasize enough that this is a responsibility that we need to have globally in training the next generation of plant breeders, as we need to make sure that the food or the access to food remains a universal right and not a localized or regional effort. So just I want to mention, like a few words of Dr. Norman Burlock, he mentioned something like, and I am not one to sit idly by, seeing mankind increasing its numbers faster than food production. It's my hope that everyone born into this world can be provided with the basic necessities for a decent human life. And this seems urgent to me. And honestly, these words resonated with me very deeply as we face challenges today, and we must seek solutions that promote that sustainability so we can achieve the demands of the world. So we need three main components. One is dedication, creativity, and collaboration. And for me, this means like we need to invest in the talent, the technology, and then innovation for the future. So here are some of the examples that I consider for the good, the bad, and the ugly issues that we face in the public breeding programs. The good is that we have seen significant advances in the methods and technologies that have greatly improved both variety and hybrid development. The bad is that there is ongoing challenges still with the data management and inventory, the infrastructure gaps that we have, and the shortages that we have in labor and knowledge transfer. And the ugly side, which is the fixable part, is that we are losing the bright minds. Like we have breeders that sometimes pass by instead of transferring their knowledge more effectively, or simply, they have to leave their positions, or they leave their positions. Sometimes there is a lack of trust in the lack of communication that could be improved. And the same thing happened, when there are difficulties in securing funding and navigating the policy, driven challenges. So to modernize the public breeding programs, first of all, it required bold investments and a strong support from the university administrators to ensure long-term success. And to remain at the cutting edge of that agricultural innovation, these programs need to fill, positions with skilled scientists that are, a tech savvy, that also equip those teams with the state-of-the-art field plot technologies. And then when we are adopting at the plan, a public breeding programs, those emerging tools, let's say advanced data analytics, high throughput phenotyping, and we will accelerate the development of resilient and more nutritious and high yielding crops. So I really believe that the right resources for those public breeding programs will continue to drive innovation and address the global challenges we have. So our future definitely depends on that collaboration also with the partnerships between the public and the private sectors, and investing in the modernization, receiving sufficient funding and technology will help us to train the next generation. Also, by building a good community like the National Association of Plant Breeders and supporting professional groups like the Plant Breeding Coordinating Committee, while expanding their presence globally, will play a crucial role in safeguarding our food security and enhancing the agricultural production. So now that I have mentioned some of these things, I want to talk a little bit about our story here at NDSU. Before I joined in 2016, we have 10 breeding programs here at NDSU, and they were at different stages of technology adoption. Some of them were still collecting data with pen and paper, making it difficult to generate, those reports consistently and with updated data. So the breeding programs have different, resources, and they are limited by the technical staff. Most of our technicians are field technicians at the time, and they were not equipped with the data, level of understanding. So breeders, they don't have the ability to have the time to manage everything in the breeding program. And that is why we centralize a team, and that team support the plant breeders and their programs, allowing them to have a more efficient use of those resources and improve the data management. So with the support of the state legislators and the SBIR and our university, we began by adopting, a single platform and manage our agronomic data in there. We purchased a server at the time, we host our databases in there, and we develop automated scripts that it was point and click type of application to help us, calculate blues and blobs. And that's how we started our process. We went from collecting data, in pen and paper, and then we were doing it in tablets. So I just want to mention, in the breeding programs, here's an example of the tables that they, produce or that we rely on and for making decisions. Unfortunately, before 2016, some of those NDSU breeders could only generate these tables once a year because it took so long, very long to compile the data. And before we transitioned those breeding programs into our database, they were often making decisions with data that was up to 9 months old. So, for example, in the barley breeding program, you can see an example in here, producing a table for 200 individuals used to take about 30 minutes per table to produce, which added up to around 12.5 working days on producing. And in contrast, for the wheat program, creating the same table for those 200 individuals could have taken up to 20 weeks. So now with the querying capacities that we have built in and streamlined tools, these tables are generated just in seconds and using up-to-date data. So here's an example of the cycle. I am using the barley breeding program as an example, and they start, at the data collection, occurs during the month of June, and the harvest occurs during late August. Immediately afterward, the breeder needs to make the decisions, and what selections to advance to those nurseries. So the particular breeder has different, places where he sent those advancements. And in the past, it was impossible almost to combine all the new data with the old data in a very, a short time frame. But now with the systems that we have created, that has helped a lot to quickly make those decisions and making those advancement decisions. As I said, now our team is growing, so we have more advanced and sophisticated infrastructure currently, and we are using both on-premises and cloud technologies, and we have incorporated very modern software development practices. Here's a list of the current products that our team has developed and that are actively providing, our users all the support they need. Some of these are, fully developed by now. Some of them are in the process of being developed. And I will provide a quick demo to each one of these products. So the Nexus Data Flow is a centralized platform that it hosts all our tools into one place. These tools are used to ingest the data, derive insights, and translate those insights into, outcomes. So currently, it holds some of our tools like Exlibris, holds FieldHub, and Mr. Bean, and along with other tools that are currently being developed, like Predict Pro and AgSkySight and the Pest Management app. So just here's an example of a Nexus. A Nexus is a user-friendly landing page that allows our users first to authenticate, and they can edit their profiles. They can navigate directly to the various applications that we have in there. As you can see, it's very user-friendly. And think about it is an app store. So in the case of a FieldHub. So FieldHub is an application that is a design of experiments application that assists in creating both the non-traditional and traditional randomizations. This is a click and point application that it features that graphical interface workflow that it helps the users to produce or import their treatments list. And also it can export the field books. So for field experiments, it allowed our users to, identify the dimensions in the field as row and columns. This is one of the examples in here that we started with the most complicated experimental design, that it was the replicated designs with diagonal checks. And then we move, integrating more and more different solutions. One of the things that I like from FieldHub is that it has helped us to train breeders all around the world. And it has also helped our users internally to expedite the way that they do the randomizations. So we have been very fortunate to collaborate with various partners in providing those trainings in experimental design and data analysis using both FieldHub and Mr. Bean. And we have received an immense support an appreciation from all those users. So we are very thankful for it, and that give us a strong sense of purpose and to continue doing our work. In the case of like Ex Libris is one of our internal products that is designed to streamline the data querying, as I was mentioning. And then we have a proprietary database software that we utilize. Then this has helped our users to work on the data retrieval pretty fast, and also in the analysis of data. So, oops, sorry about that. 1 second. There you go. So as you can see in this video, like there is a very nice landing page. It's very minimalistic, and it starts with selecting the database and the type of query analysis they want to do. So the users can navigate directly into the gears, and then they can select the experiments. They can copy and paste the experiments directly in there, or they can select them. And as well, once they have, like in this case, this is an example that is showing the click capability of the product, but it also allows the users to filter by a specific words. So for example, if they want to retrieve, let's say, the PYT, so then you can put the word PYT and it kind of like give you all those. It also allows the users to select the trades, or it will get all the trades. It has some visualizations in place that it will help the users with the QA/QC of their data. And it also allows them to calculate really quickly those blobs. So you can see in here, as soon as the breeders have the data into the database, the application will help them to generate these reports. And that it has been the night and day for us, like it has really helped all our users to make decisions faster. With Mr. Bean is an application that is also in R. It was designed to streamline the management and analysis of plant breeding data, especially. And it provides our users, like with this very intuitive platform interface, and there is very sophisticated data analysis in there. It helps with the import of data, the manipulation of the data. It helps also with producing the outputs that are needed. And it had helped our teams to, make decisions faster, not only at the plant breeding level, but also in the agronomy side. So this particular application was done in collaboration with Johanna Paricio, who at the time was in the SIAD bean breeding program, and also with Salvador Guesan from BSN International. So as you can see, this application is very click and point. And in this particular example, we have it's a two-stage type of approach, where we have the first step is doing the analysis by location to produce blues, and the second stage analysis, which is the MET analysis, it uses those blues and calculate blobs. And you can see in there, you can get the correlation covariances, and you can select, the variance covariance matrix that you can see how those models are explaining the variance for the particular traits that you are interested. And it has also this latent regression that is very similar in concept to an stability analysis. So it shows you how it works, and you can get your results and export them in Excel. This is one of the new products that we are working on. It is called Predict Pro. So Predict Pro is designed to interpret everything that is, a omics breeding data, which include mainly, a genomic and phenomic information that is gathered from those field trials. So this is, as all our other tools, this tool is catered to individuals that do not have any coding experience. Our idea is always empower those users to be able to analyze their data, and we can teach them the background, how it works, what is the data type of analysis that are in the background, but the idea is that they can make decisions faster. So Predict Pro is currently going to go into the beta version test. So then we are going to have a couple of users that are going to be starting checking how it works and give us feedback. But this is an application that we have been building for the past year. So that's why still we are in the process of development. But we are excited to see it going through the phases of support for our users. Also, our team is developing in collaboration with other professors here at NDSU, especially Dr. Paulo Flores, this tool that is called AgSkySite. So this is developed, to facilitate the activities associated with the integration of unmanned aerial systems or data collected with, UAV. And the first objective of creating this tool is to integrate, collect the data, use all the integration per se and produce the final results, as indexes. So this is pretty much an easy click and point application to make sure that our users don't spend a lot of time encoding all the, identification of the images and the stitching, the shapefile generation and stuff like that. So then the idea is that this will integrate all those steps in the pipeline. And so here's the deal. I have many other products to show you today, but I want to make sure that I am careful with the time. So I just want to leave you with one idea that I love a lot, and is Antonio Machado's, words about caminante no hay camino, se hace camino al andar. That's in my original language, Spanish, and that translates to traveler, there is no road. You can make your own path as you walk. And then how do I use that in plant breeding? I think that I use it as, it inspired me to think about innovative ways of how we can make better for, improve plant breeding. We can embrace, a dynamic and adaptable approach of how we do stuff. We don't need to be too worried about having everything in place. We are putting the things together as we are walking through, and then exploring those new methodologies, integrating that cutting edge technology, learning both from our successes as well as from our setbacks. And I think that to make sure that we successfully forge our path in plant breeding, we must foster that collaboration among different teams, the researchers, the breeders, the other stakeholders, a different people to, exchange that interdisciplinary approach. And in our case, we want to make sure that we leverage our teams with those analytic tools, and in the hope that that helps deepen the understanding of the plant breeders so they can make those data-driven decisions more confidently. Yeah, but it's very important to think about that we need to combine the new technology with the traditional knowledge as well. So it's important not to look only this is the technology and it's true. It's we need to mix, with that breeding wisdom and ensure that we remain grounded to those proven practices to remain open to those new solutions. So I want to thank all our team. I have a fantastic group of individuals that are close to me, and I wouldn't do what I do if I wasn't because of them. I'm very thankful for all the different, entities that have supported us financially. And with that, I want to say thank you. So thank you to all of you for your time, and then we can open for questions.
Thank you so much, Anna. Thank you so much. Please post your questions in the chat and we'll relay them to Anna. Looking at your title, Anna, I didn't see a lot of the bad and the ugly. Can you tell us a bit about that?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Yes, I didn't see a lot of the bad and the ugly. Looking at the title of your presentation, I imagine you have encountered some of that, and be good to hear.
Yes, I will stop sharing 1 second, and then
yeah, please.
Yeah, when we started the breeding program, we were bringing one breeding program at a time. So we faced different challenges, we found situations in which many of the data was still in pen and paper. So we had to go back and help those breeding programs to put the data into those data repositories. So when I was mentioning, what is the good, the bad and the ugly, the good is definitely breeding programs have produced in the traditional ways many of the good varieties that are being used by those breeding programs. But the bad is many of them were very outdated. They were kind of very old in the way that they approach technology. And thank you, Jean-Luc. So yeah, we are very excited about like how we started working step by step, bringing them into a more modernized approach. The ugly is that definitely sometimes, like for example, when a breeder pass by, pass away, and they couldn't completely transfer the knowledge to other individuals within the team. So by doing this approach of like having our data in databases, building these technologies, we are making sure that we transfer that knowledge through.
Okay. So I have a question in the chat from Jean-Luc Cornell. Are these apps linked through Rappi, and what data transfer formats do you use?
Thank you, Jean-Luc. I really appreciate the question. We are still, like looking at our team how to be BRAPI compliant, but that's something that we are looking forward to work with our integration in our team. So any words of wisdom or any support that your team or anybody can give us, we will greatly appreciate it.
And what data transfer formats do you use?
The transfer formats, like specifically for what, like you're talking
I don't know.
about
That's what
data.
Jean-Luc is asking. What data transfer format do you use?
Most of the formats that we are currently using, like for the breeding data, are in, like our CSV files for the agronomic data. I know that Sikiru and Didier are working, like for the genomic data on BCF files and HapMap, and like we are looking about other type of formats that we can utilize in there as well.
Okay. A couple of questions about the availability, the public availability of these apps. Is it you mentioned one was more for the query one was more for internal use,
Correct.
but are all the other accessible by the public? What is the situation?
So yes, some of these applications, like for example, PhilHub and Mr. Bean, they are publicly available. The other tool, Exlibris, is more internal to our users. The next other tools that we are developing, like there might be some components that will be of public use, and there might be some of the ones that we might utilize for development more internally.
Okay. Well, it'd be good if either now in the chat or maybe when we later on circulate the recordings, if we can post a link to your website so people can directly access that. If you have it and you can post it right now, that will be great. Okay, because a lot of the questions relate to that. Which oh, there you are, guys. There's the website for Anna's lab, where you can find information about all these programs. Okay, and apps.
Yeah, and
yeah, go ahead.
sorry, and we have many of our, like the tools that we already have developed, they are available in GitHub. So if you, for example, put PhilHub Git, like have GitHub, you will be able to find it in there. I'm kind of like just quickly in a link in there. And then the same is for
okay.
For Mr. Bean. There you go. Is there, I think I saw other questions. There we go. Now we have.
Yeah, all right. Thank you so much. Please post more questions in the chat. Anna, we got together in June in St. Louis, and the first day we talk about how to approach this issue of continuity with breeding programs, which involves modernization, of course. Okay. What is your impression in terms of what really needs to be done, not just at NDSU, but talking about programs at the land grant university level and probably programs, public programs worldwide, okay?
So I think that definitely needs to be an effort that includes administration from our universities. That's one. Two, like a collaboration from the private industry, and three, like getting together with these groups like the PVCC, like we did, Carlos, understanding how the policy, in terms of like what are the policies that are currently in place to understand that, it will help us to figure out, like how should we tailor our, like our efforts. And it requires also, like making sure like our breeders per se have the capacity to modernize themselves and modernize their breeding program. So we need to do a lot of advocacy on that. And that's what I think that our work will need to start, advocacy.
It's an interesting question here by Sue about how do you transition with all that information that has been collected with pen and paper to a digital format. And I don't think there may be some easy way through scanning, or but you have to swallow the pill, I guess. What's your experience with the? You must have some pen and paper, pure pen and paper breeders at NDSU that you had to deal with. Yeah.
Absolutely. There are a few things that we definitely have to do still in pen and paper, but like how I am going to give an example in which when we were doing that transition for one of the breeding programs, our solution was we hired a student, and that student was mainly devoted to help us to transfer, like everything that was in pen and paper or everything that was in Excel files, and started putting them in the databases. So I know that that's very difficult for some breeding programs. In the case of NDSU, like we like I have the support from our state legislators in saying like, hey, supporting these breeding programs will help with our food security, will support our region. And then once we receive that, it helped with the formation of this team. So maybe forming some of these little teams of analytics or that can help in that transition for the breeding programs will be adequate.
So there's sort of kind of two time frames, isn't it? One is the sort of the immediate past could have implications for future breeders because you have information about progenies, lines, pedigree, and performance of relatives, which could be very useful. Okay, but then there's the historic type of evaluation, and I have heard of programs that are 100 years old and have these bookcases. I think you heard that case in June. Bookcases full of information, and there had been I think the library of that university took care of that because it contains a historic element and it cannot be lost if there's a fire or something happens.
Yes,
so, yeah,
exactly. So I usually tell users, let's start with the current, let's start now. Let's start with the present data. Let's go a couple of years. Like that might be a conversation that like we need to have with each breeding program and each breeder. Some breeders say like hey, it doesn't make sense for me to go more than 9 years back. There is some other breeders because of the type of like steel materials that they use in their breeding program that they might need many more years in their database, and they might need 15 years or so. I don't know. So then that's a conversation that needs to be sustained with each program.
Okay, and that Sue, that's answer your question there in terms of how to fall back. Yeah, it's up to the judgment of the breeder. Any other questions or any other wisdom from you, Anna? I was going to ask you this. In the audience, I know we have a lot of graduate students in the audience, okay? Future plant breeders. And you have navigated the industry and academia. A lot of the times graduate students are sometimes afraid of industry or they're sometimes afraid of academia. Any words of wisdom from you?
I think that, like I always say, believe in the process. So it means like trust yourself and, like every day learn something new. Work with people if like to learn faster, to accelerate that process. Like I remember my professor, he used to say something like, don't get so caught up into the failures, because failures help you to understand, like what to do as to feel what to do next. So I just tell the students, like be kind to yourself, learn in the process, like prepare for the future, which means, like take the opportunities that are being given to you. Like I personally, when I went to the industry, I was feeling a little bit nervous of like, would I be good enough? But then the reality is I learned a lot in the process. And when I was in the industry, I had another lead that he told me, like how I was asking, how can I be successful, like in what I'm doing in the company. And he said, something that resonated with me as well, that it was like a first learn, articulate, and then influence. So that kind of like became a mantra for me. So learn, articulate, influence. And that's what I will also say to the rest of the people in here, like don't be scared. It's just taking one step at a time.
Sounds good. Thank you, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
All right. It looks like thank you, Jean-Luc, for your words there in the chat. Fully agree. Let's start with now. Yeah, digitizing data, and that for sure is the must. Okay. Well, I'm gonna share my screen again. Okay, and ooh, am I sharing? No, I'm not. No, sharing yet. Share. There you are. Okay. So thank you so much, Anna, and it was a pleasure to have you with us. Thanks everybody for attending this first seminar of the series. We have 5 more to go, so be ready to jump in next Thursday for a seminar from by Dr. Soraya Bertioli from the University of Georgia, talking about the use of wild species of peanuts in her breeding program. If anything else, you guys have a good rest of the week, a good weekend, and I look forward to seeing you all next Thursday at 11 a.m. Thank you so much. Thank you, Anna.
Thank you all
Thanks.
very much, and have a great afternoon, a great day.
Okay. Ciao, gracias. Bye.
Oh, bye-bye.